Formula One is called the rich man's sport. Luxury brands, billion-dollar corporations, and the world's biggest companies fight to get their logos on those cars. Rolex, Mercedes, and Emirates are the usual sponsors of Formula One. But nowadays, the sponsorship space is incredibly oversaturated. In the 80s and 90s, F1 teams had just a few key partners, but today's top teams feature upwards of 40 to 50 sponsors. Their logos are everywhere, creating a wall of noise that's hard to break through. This saturation has created a modern sponsor dilemma. According to a report, 58% of F1 fans can't recall more than 2 sponsors on a given car. And on top of that, logo visibility is a huge gamble because of poor team performance and lack of TV airtime. But in the F1 movie, one sponsor stood out more than any other. That is, Expensify. Compared to usual F1 sponsors, Expensify is a relatively small company. It is an expense management app that usually appeals to small businesses to manage their expenses. The Formula One audience is the perfect fit for this brand. F1 usually attracts rich people, executives, CEOs, and many business owners. Getting your brand in front of these people, which helps businesses, is a perfect audience fit. But how did a company this small manage to pull off such a premium sponsorship? In this video, we'll break down exactly how Expensify hit the masterstroke that made this sponsorship a genius move. Before we go further, if you haven't watched the F1 movie yet, go watch it in the nearest IMAX theater. Once in a while, there comes a movie that you must watch at the theater. This is that movie. You will enjoy the racing scenes, cinematography, and overall visuals, even if you have zero knowledge about F1. In the F1 movie, you see the Expensify logo everywhere. It was on the cars, on the racing suits, and in the pit lane. Overall, it was impossible to miss. The reason is, Expensify is the main sponsor of this movie. Usually there are a few sponsors in the movie. You see them in a few scenes. This is called product placement. After watching the movie, many people might have wondered, what is Expensify? And how did this company manage to become the star sponsor in a movie about Formula One? The answer is not just about racing. It's about money, marketing, and a clever financial gamble. Expensify is not Ferrari, Mercedes, or Red Bull. It's not even a car company. It's a finance app from the United States that helps people and businesses manage their expenses. Most people outside of the business world have never even heard of it. And yet, in one of the biggest movies of the year, Expensify is plastered all over the screen as if it were the next big car brand. That didn't happen by accident. It happened because Expensify made a decision to pay millions of dollars to sponsor not a real Formula One team, but a fake team created for the movie. In the movie, Brad Pitt and Damson Idris drive for a fictional team called APXGP. This team doesn't exist in real life, but for the length of the film, it looks and feels just like Ferrari or Mercedes. And right in the middle of this fake team's identity is Expensify. By making this move, Expensify didn't just sponsor a movie, they became a permanent part of it. Every time this film plays in a theater, on Apple TV, or years from now on streaming, Expensify will still be there. This is something real F1 sponsorship can never guarantee. Now, let's talk about money. Reports suggest that the total sponsorship funding for this movie was more than $40 million. That includes all the brands that appeared in the film. Usually, the main sponsor pays around 40 to 50% of the total sponsorship. It is estimated that Expensify had paid between $15 to $20 million. For a company of their size, this is not pocket change. It's a massive gamble, but it is still a smart gamble. If Expensify had tried to sponsor a real F1 team, the cost would have been much higher. For example, Oracle pays around $300 million over 5 years to sponsor Red Bull Racing. That's about $60 million a year. Even smaller teams like Williams or Haas can charge $10 to $30 million for just one season of sponsorship. And remember, real F1 sponsorship is risky. If the team you sponsor does poorly, your brand gets less screen time. If the team doesn't win races, your investment doesn't look glamorous. And every year, you have to pay again. With the movie deal, Expensify found a shortcut. For about $20 million, they got guaranteed screen time with Brad Pitt, one of the most famous and versatile actors in the world. Plus, the movie's backed by Apple, with the best cinematographers in the business and shown in IMAX theaters across the globe. Their logo will not disappear after one season. It's permanently burned into film history. For the price of sponsoring a mid-level F1 team for just 1 year, Expensify bought global attention for many years. That's a bargain compared to the usual cost of sports sponsorship. As of now, we do not know how much it has benefited them, as the third financial quarter is not finished, but we will definitely know when their Q3 results come out. But from the Google Trends data, we can still take a guess that they benefited. Google Trends gives you an idea about how much people are searching for a particular keyword. The movie was released in the last week of June 2025. You can clearly see people are curious and want to know exactly what Expensify is. You can see from the beginning of June, the trend is going up because of the movie trailer and promotion stuff. When the movie was released, the search was at a maximum of 100 points in that week, and then it went down and settled to a base level. This is the natural course of any marketing. It peaks at one particular point and then settles and creates a new base level. This is exactly what happened here. If you see the before June trend, they were known but had scored around 30 to 40 average on Google Trends data. That means people who use their app were aware of it. Now, if you look at the after June data, they peaked in the month of June and then settled down now, but they have now created a new base level. The new base level, which varies around 60 to 70 on Google Trends. They probably increased their customer base. But how does this help Expensify as a company? Think of brand awareness. Before the movie, most people who weren't into finance or startups had no clue what Expensify was. After the movie, millions now know the name. We now have real data from the marketing research firm Tracksuit. They found that in the 18 to 54 age demographic, Expensify's unaided brand awareness jumped from under 8% in June to nearly 10% in July. To put that in perspective, their main competitors, like Concur and Ramp, all stayed below 8%, with most below 5%. In the younger 18 to 24 demographic, Expensify's awareness was nearly 10%, while competitors were at 3% or less. This shows that the name didn't just stick, it moved the needle in a major way against their competition, and sponsoring the movie was the genius marketing move of Expensify. Even if most people don't understand what their app does, the name sticks in their mind. Marketing often works in this simple way. First, you recognize a name, then you get curious, then you try it. In 2019, Expensify also ran a Super Bowl commercial and paid $15 million. They got just 30 seconds of airtime, and only for 2 seconds their logo was actually visible in the ad. With F1, Expensify didn't just sponsor a movie, they became a permanent part of it. According to Expensify's own analysis, their logo was on screen for an estimated 35 minutes across 650 different scenes. They calculated this, which translated to a combined 1.3 billion minutes of logo viewing. Expensify also said that so far, their movie presence has earned them a media value of more than $100 million. In simple words, if they had tried to buy the same amount of publicity through traditional ads, it would have cost them 5 times more than what they spent on the sponsorship. Overall, this turned out to be much better than sponsoring a real F1 team. Sponsoring real F1 teams is not only expensive, but they also carry the risk of losing. A movie, on the other hand, can make any team look heroic. In F1, the movie, the fictional APX GP team gets the Hollywood treatment. It is shown in dramatic angles and has Brad Pitt as its driver. It's got the kind of story that real F1 teams can only dream of. Expensify's brand is tied not to a losing season, but to a thrilling Hollywood story. This is a sponsorship without risk of losing, because in movies, the underdog can always win. Of course, this gamble is not guaranteed to succeed. People might see Expensify everywhere, but still not use the app. Many viewers might just forget about it once the movie ends. Others may even find the branding distracting and think, why is this random app all over my F1 movie? But in the world of marketing, attention is often the first step. Even if only a small percentage of viewers decide to download their app, the sponsorship will pay for itself. This brings us to the bigger financial lesson hidden inside this story. Companies spend millions of dollars every year to get their logos in front of us. Sometimes it's on sports jerseys, sometimes on billboards, and sometimes inside movies. The goal is always the same: to make a brand feel bigger than it is. Expensify is a small company compared to usual F1 sponsors. But for 2 hours on a theater, they looked as big as a Mercedes or Ferrari. This illusion of size and importance is valuable. It helps in recruiting talented employees, convincing new investors, and attracting new customers. Expensify's bet is a strategic play on how the world of advertising is fundamentally changing. In a world where viewers constantly skip traditional commercials and sports content is fragmented across countless streaming platforms, cinematic storytelling offers a powerful, high-attention alternative. The brand isn't simply interrupting a story with an ad, it's becoming an essential part of the story itself. You can close your eyes, but you can't erase the logo on the car when Brad Pitt is driving it at 200 miles per hour. Expensify saw this trend and went all in, choosing to buy a starring role in the movie story rather than a simple ad spot. So, for the price of sponsoring a small, real F1 team, they bought a starring role in a global blockbuster and turned a boring finance app into a brand that movie fans around the world now recognize. While competitors fight for a few seconds of screen time on a crowded car, Expensify's brand is now permanently etched into a blockbuster that has so far earned more than $613 million worldwide. This is not just marketing, that was a masterclass in brand building.